Shalom, shalom. Just give me a second, Akim. Lord's willing. The audio and everything sounds good. Just let me check everything out, Baba for sure. Hey, shalom, shalom. Mic check, mic check. Hey, shalom, shalom. Mic check, mic check. Alright, hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost,
Well, meanwhile,
hold on. Give me a second. Alright, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to our powers. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. I want to say Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai, Brakatah Yahweh, and Brakatah Yahweh Shai. I give it up honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that have taught us this truth, that are constantly willing well through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Hey, peace, mercy, and blessings to the beloved Akim that are out there pushing this word wholeheartedly in truth and in sincerity, that are not wavering to the left nor to the right, but constantly staying on that straight and narrow, fighting for your crowns in these last days that we are truly living in. Even shalom to the few sisters, the Aguas that are out there, and even shalom to the Israelite foreigners, those that may look like the other nation, but their seed line is going back into our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the brother Iraq, coming back with another lesson to the Lord, willing, edifying, feed the lambs of the Lord, which I pray this lesson is edifying, concise, and straight to the point. All right, and pretty much I entitled this Friday Night Live, Wars and Rumors. All right, because you know you got war that's in the air. Okay, you know you just had the U.S. drop bombs on what I believe a Venezuelan so-called drug-loaded ship. You know, they're blaming Maduro for, you know, being a drug smuggler and things of that nature, which, you know, them Venezuelans, you know, they not having the tyranny of what the U.S. is doing. All right, I heard one of their generals or somebody that was, you know, part of their military, you know, pretty much somebody translated what he was saying in their language, in I think it's Spanish, but he was saying, we gonna tell you Americans like we told you in the 80s, stay out of our country, gringo, you know. All right, so, you know, right now people are rising up against the West, okay, and you just recently had China, which is I think the president is Xi Jinping, and then you had Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un, and then you got the man himself, Vladimir Putin, you know, the big bear. All right, Russia, okay, all right, which according to the scriptures, all right, Russia is going to be the end of Babylon the Great. All right, it's prophesied that Russia is the feet, all right, of the beast that is going to come against this place. Okay, all right, and you know, I believe they was, you know, celebrating the 80th anniversary, and within that celebration, you know, they let the world see, all right, the military, the equipment that they got, and you know, Trump didn't like that. You know, Trump did not like, you know, what they were doing over there in China. All right, and you know, it had me laughing because I started to think about Trump had a big head Rico moment, you know, from you know, if y'all brothers know the movie Belly. Trump had a big head Rico moment. Matter of fact, let me play this real fast, all right? Because it's, you know, sometimes you got to get a good laugh, but let me play this.
Rico started feeling his pockets was getting a little thinner since we got there.
It's all good, so it's all right there.
Trouble was right there on that corner, staring right at us.
Yeah, they rode him hard too. They slang it real good, real good.
Might have to drop a dime on them niggas.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like that shit.
For sure, bro.
I don't like that shit.
Say, I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit, you know? All right, and you know, Trump actually tweeted out, all right, which I'm gonna read some of, you know, what Trump said. This is from let me see, let me read, let me go back into it. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Let me see, here it is. No, that's not it. That's not it. I'm sorry. That's it right here. This is from the ABC News. It says, Trump says China conspiring against the U.S. with Putin. Kim meeting at military parade. It says the leaders of China, Russia, and North Korea attended a parade in Beijing. President Donald Trump took to his social media platform as Chinese President Xi Jinping, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and Russia President Vladimir Putin appeared together in Beijing for China's largest ever military parade on Wednesday. Trump accused Xi of conspiring against the United States as they attended the parade, which marked the 80th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regard to Vladimir Putin. Now, this is what Trump was saying. And Kim Jong-un, as you conspire against the United States of America, Trump wrote on social media as the parade was underway. So, you know, Trump posted this in a tweet, I believe, all right, that they're conspiring against the United States. like I played that video, you know. I don't like that shit right there. You know, that's pretty much was Trump's spirit. You know, make him get on a social media platform and get to tweeting out, you know, and then you heard the first part of it. You know, he said, I hope that y'all have a wonderful parade. And then in the second part, he wrote that they pretty much conspiring against the United States. Okay, which that's how the Edomites deal anyways, you know, because the scripture said they speak with a you know, like a forked tongue. Matter of fact, let me start with that. All right, let's get the book of Psalms, and I'm probably gonna be all over the place with this one, but Lord willing, it is edifying. You know, but let me start with the book of Psalms. Chapter 55, verse 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. All right, so, you know, to wish good is something smooth. All right, y'all, hope y'all having a good celebration. But then in another breath, he's saying, oh, y'all conspiring against me. And then he had, you know, spoken and said that you know, we got a good relationship, and if we don't, matter of fact, let me read it so I don't want to, you know, misquote it. We'll find out in a few weeks, you know. And ever since Trump been saying that they'll find out something, you know, things been happening, you know, whether it's a bombing of a commander, whether it's a pipeline being destroyed, whether it's some type of sabotage, you know. All right, it's always something that when you know, Trump says something happens, something goes down. Okay, What's going on there? So let me read. It says Trump referenced America's involvement in World War II in the post on saying the biggest question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. It says many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice, the president wrote. It says in his remarks at the parade held in front of the Tiananmen Gate, Xi hailed the Chinese People Liberation Army as a heroic force and spoke of nations and treating each others as equals. The Chinese nation is a great nation that does not fear violence, okay? And you know, what we've been saying through the spirit is that the Lord did set up the West, all right? Because the start of America was, you know, you got the European allies, but then you got the military aspect of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and at the spearhead of NATO, you got America that sits at the top, okay? So America for years have been, you know, the top dog, the biggest and baddest bully on the block, all right? And, you know, like they made mention of Japan, okay? Well, what shocked the world was that wonder. It was a wonder what the U.S. did to those Japanese, okay? Which the Japanese in the scriptures are known as the Ammonites, okay? All right, you got the Moabites, which are the Chinese, and then you got Ammon, the Ammonites, which are the Japanese, okay? These are the sons of Lot, all right? Because everybody has a biblical classification, you know. But what the U.S. did to those Ammonites, those Japanese, they dropped those atomic bombs on them. I want to say one was on August 6th, and the other one was on August 9th, okay? All right, which still is playing a major part and effect on the people today, all right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, okay? And that's history that, you know, Pearl Harbor, all right? The first time the world ever seen that type of destructive force take place, okay? Which made the world fear, and then also made them realize that they need to step their game up, which was all according to the Spirit of the Lord, all right? Because the Lord was going to eventually start raising up these other nations to start being on the same level playing field, because America wasn't going to always be at the top. Somebody was going to have to be set up to rival America to bring them down, all right? So now we're seeing the ones who the Lord's is setting up, all right, which is you know, Russia, and then they got their allies, which is the BRICS nations, all right? You got Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and then you got others that's trying to join, like Turkey, I want to say Saudi Arabia. You see Kim Jong-un was there, you know, because they're doing deals with each other, okay, economically, military-wise, all right, sending forth weapons to each other, okay, different aids and things of that nature. So this is the counterpart of NATO, all right, and that's what the Lord is doing. He's setting up the weak, and now the weak are saying that, you know, they're strong, okay. Let me grab that, all right. Let me just grab that real fast, okay, because the weak are saying that they're strong. Okay, let me hold on, let me get it in the blue letter. All right, I have a video I want to play too, but let me grab this. This is Joel chapter 2. Oh, is it? I'm sorry. Joel chapter 3. And let me start at the top. Joel chapter 3 verse 1, it says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Because see, the point of these nations going to war with each other is for our deliverance. Okay, that's what ultimately World War III is about. It's so that way they can fight each other. Yahweh Shai can come and subdue all the kings. All the kings of the earth are going to be subjugated by our Lord Yahweh Shai. Okay, which that's going to be a show of who really has the power. All right, and Yahweh Shai, as his title is the King of Kings. Okay, so that means that those that are in the top seats that attend these G20s, these different summits and things of that nature, well, the Lord gonna put the spirit on them to fight each other, you know, and the, you know, while they fighting, and those missiles get, you know, shot, Yahweh Shai is gonna make a return to this place, to the planet Earth. Okay, all right, to deliver the elect and then to subjugate. All right, this is what they're not gonna tell you in the Christian church. Okay, that the Lord is coming to destroy and only to save a certain people, which are the Israelites, and then out of his people only the elect are going to make it. Okay, matter of fact, let's read some more. Right, it says, I'm reading the NLT. It says, at the time of those events, says the Lord, when I restore the prosperity of Judah and Jerusalem. Okay, because right now we're yet this day in our captivity. All right, as it tells you in the book of Baruch, you know, all right, we're held captives here. Okay, it says, I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Okay, now our land is the land of Israel, which you got the Israelis, which their biblical nationality go back into the Amalekites. Okay, which are the sons of Edom, and you know they're fighting the Palestinians, and they're fighting over our land. See, it said that they parted the land, okay, because they believe that they're going to, you know, take over the resources, take over the landmass. All right, but prophecy says that we're going to get our land back, and it's going to take World War III to happen in order for us to receive our inheritance, because the land of Israel is our inheritance. Okay, you know, and let me get this real fast. It says the valley of Jehoshaphat, right? The Hebrew word for Jehoshaphat is, I'm sorry, Jehoshaphat. I already said it in the Hebrew. Jehoshaphat is how you say it. Yahweh is the Most High's name, Yahweh, and then Shaphat, which means judgment. Okay, it says Jehoshaphat, Yahweh has judged. A symbolic name of a valley near Jerusalem, which is the place of ultimate judgment, maybe the deep ravine which separates Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives, through which the Kidron flowed. All right, which it's going to be the middle where the great rivers of Euphrates is. Okay, all right, that's where the Lord is going to have Armageddon take place. Okay, which Armageddon, okay, I believe it's the hill of troops. All right, so this type of war that's going to take place is going to be the war that ends all wars. All right, because see, this ain't going to be no World War I, World War II type of style of fighting, you know, and you're going to see it within the video because of the type of technology they have, you know. All right, they got ICBM missiles. They got ICBM missiles, different types of rockets, you know, ray laser guns. They got all type of stuff. Okay, so the scripture described this war is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. Okay, all right, which is not going to be like any other war. Okay, so it says, let me jump down in Joel 3 and because it goes into a different timeline, Joel the 3rd chapter. So let me jump down straight to the point, to verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I am strong. Okay, all right, so let the weak say I am strong. All right, so now these other nations, okay, they have the capabilities, okay, to band together and fight against the West hegemony. All right, so they're not afraid. That's why you would hear that the Chinese are standing strong or standing bold, because of the alliance that they have with each other, okay, and the weaponry that they now have, okay, to be able to combat the West. And don't get me wrong, the West is still very powerful, all right, but this is a part of the Most High's movie and his plans, okay, to have somebody rival the West, all right, in order to bring the West down. Okay, so let me get this. Matter of fact, this is from let me see, let me get this real fast. This is I was watching it earlier. This is from the Steve Ram show.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 3.
Turn that down and let that go by.
If you can do that, then
some pretty incredible developing news coming out today. Let's take a look at the latest headlines coming out in the last 24 hours. You can see here, Trump directs the Pentagon to prepare for military restructuring against China and Russia. Now, this coming out yesterday, September the 3rd, being updated today, September the 4th. I'm going to dive into all the details for you as take a look at more headlines. Trump has directed the Pentagon to prepare for military restructuring as Russia and China get closer together. Trump orders Pentagon to prepare for deterring Russia and China. Now, this comes as yesterday. I'm going to be sharing with you the video.
It's a lot again.
China unveiled new laser weapons, nuclear ballistic missiles, and held a parade showing off their new capabilities and their unity with Russia and North Korea. China, North Korea, Russia, the leaders all coming together. And Donald Trump is now saying he's preparing our U.S. military to deter those various forces, as he is saying they are conspiring against us and essentially preparing for a world war. Take a look at this coming out yesterday on True Social. From
Hold on, because Trump had that big head Rico moment, you know. I don't like that shit. But give me a second, because, you know, Isaiah, right? Isaiah, what is it? 9 and is it 9 and 6? No, 9 and 5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So, you know, wars would be, you know, head up, hand-to-hand combat, you know, but now through advancement of technology, you know, they don't need battering rams to enter into castles. They don't need I don't know what them little launchers called, where they used to light them shits on fire and throw the rocks and, you know, things of that nature. You know, they don't need arrows. You know, they got different type of military grade armor, okay? You know, and a lot of these other like China, they showed their wolf dogs. They got wolf dogs, wolf robot dogs, you know. So this is gonna be some whole other shit. This type of war is gonna be some whole. They got exoskeleton soldiers, robots. This is gonna be some whole different type of war going on right here, you know. But this is what the Lord is setting up, okay? And the way it's going to end is by the fire that we've been talking about, which is the icy beams. Because see, the Most High, he destroyed, you know, the world with water, but he made the promise that he wasn't going to destroy the world with water again. So this time, when the destruction comes, the second death, the Lord is going to destroy by fire. All right. And the way the Lord is setting it up, all right, everybody getting ready to fight. Okay, so when Trump seen what China was doing, you know, he had a big head Rico moment. Nah, I don't like that shit right there. And truth be told, you know, like you heard in the scene, in that belly scene, the Russians are getting into the money of the banking elite families' pockets, you know, all right, because all wars are banking wars. All wars are banking wars. They fund both sides, you know, all right, and you know, these Edomites are covetous, so you know, they take control over resources and countries and set up puppets, and you know, they force their way to get what they want, and then they control people through debt. You know, they set up their own banks and things of that nature. All right, so this is, in a sense, messing with their money, because now these are the countries that would look to the U.S. Now they're not looking to the U.S. so much as far as like agricultural trading and things of that nature, because they don't need really the U.S. No more like that. All right, let me let's go back. I got a lot. Let's go back. Let's watch some good information.
The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help to secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. That was yesterday, but look at this. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. Wow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree with Donald Trump that yesterday's meeting was not just them coming together and celebrating, but also conspiring against the United States unification as China unveiled new nuclear weapons, missiles, new capabilities that they're saying could reach anywhere in the world, and articles specifically saying that what they unveiled yesterday has the ability to hit the United States of America. If you agree with Donald Trump, drop a 47 in the comments that this is a good precautionary measure to make to direct the Pentagon to get the U.S. military to prepare to deter potential forces of Russia and China against the United States. Now, if you disagree, put no in the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, I'm going to dive into the articles. I've got a lot of video footage that's been coming out on this. You're going to be able to see the celebration that they had in China. Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un joining Xi Jinping in China for the celebration. And also, as I mentioned, you're going to be seeing the footage of Donald Trump's response. I'm going to play for you the video footage, the articles. I'm also going to put it on the screen, read right from it. All my sources are hyperlinked in the description. You can see they came out yesterday, September the 3rd, have been updated today, September the 4th. Try to hold myself to the highest level of accountability here on the channel to my community. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor. Before we dive in, take a quick second. About 2,100 people with me live. Can we get the likes up to 1,000? That's half the room. If so, it helps out a ton. If you haven't done so yet, you appreciate the update. Much daily updates, some twice a day. The world is trembling left and right with all the earthquakes taking place. But let's go ahead and dive right in. Get you caught up on the latest, as we're hearing that there is potentially a unification of Russia, China, North Korea coming together in a celebration of their unity and their weaponry. And Donald Trump is saying this is conspiring against the United States of America. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's start off with some video footage so you can see it for yourself. And then we're going to be taking a look at the articles to give us some more details as well. Let's go ahead and dive right in. details as well. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
In Beijing, Xi had some friends over for dinner. Putin and Little Rocket Man got the red carpet treatment. Modi from India was there. He hadn't been to China in 7 years, but wasn't ready to march in the parade. Xi, Vlad, and Kim wanted a little alone time. They got caught on a hot mic, and it was a little weird.
In the past, people rarely lived longer than 70 years, but today, they say that at 70, you are still a child.
Human organs can be continuously transplanted. The longer you live, the younger you become, and can even achieve immortality.
Just two dictators fantasizing about immortality. If you ever wondered what they talked about when they didn't think people were listening, that's it. Trump wasn't there, but he sent Xi a message. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. The Chinese leader also showed off his toys. He took Vlad and Kim to the military parade, gave them a look-see at his nuclear triad. And they even laid eyes on his robot wolves and underwater drones. CNN was downright giddy.
We're watching live pictures tonight. Right now, a massive parade underway in Beijing as the Chinese President Xi Jinping is showing off his country's arsenal and military might to the world.
This is a message of strength. This is a message of victory. After all, they are commemorating the 80th anniversary of the surrender of Japan. This is a demonstration to China and the world that China is strong, it can protect itself.
Oh, CNN lavished more praise on China's military.
Yeah, because, you know, see, we in a time of war, as the scriptures say, man. All right? So, you know, the scriptures say that the Lord, he moves the hearts of the kings. So this is what the Lord is doing, all right? He's putting the spirit on Xi Jinping, Russia, and the rest of their allies to, you know, get together and make things happen. Okay, matter of fact, let me just get Proverbs 21 and 1 first. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay, you know, and through technology and advancement, whether they're talking about living forever and things of that nature, you know, they believe that they're going to have the next seat on the throne, you know, all right, but that's not prophecy wise, okay, all right. You know what, let me see if I can find it. It speaks about that, all right. Moab, let me see, Moab, let me see, it's in to the generation, something about is it Numbers? Scripture speak about they should be a wash pot in the kingdom. And then oh, here it is. Deuteronomy 23:3. It says, an Ammonite. Matter of fact, I'm sorry. Deuteronomy 23:2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. You see? So these Moabites, they're not going to be on the throne. All right? They're going to be a wash pot in the kingdom. The Ammonites, they're going to be a wash pot. Well, I don't say Ammon is going to be a wash pot, but it say Moab is going to be a wash pot in the kingdom. You know? All right? So they're not going to sit on the throne. They're not going to rule. Okay? The scriptures speak about all of the heathens are going to be subjugated, but in their mind they're competing over who's going to take over the markets, who's you know, who's going to have control over the currency, the money. You know, they're all fighting for this control over the digital platform. You know, all right. And in order to control, you gotta go to war. You know, you gotta show who's superior. So, you know, right now they might got certain deals intact, they work with each other, okay? But this is why the Lord said, you know, why do the like I said, I'm just going off the top of the spirit. Why do the heathen rage? All right, because they imagine a vain thing, okay? You know, Moab is not going to rule, but they're trying to set themselves up to be on the top seat, okay? But the Lord is not going to have it that way. Psalms 2:1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? You see, it's a vain thing of what they thinking. All right. But what they're doing is they're flexing. They showing, look, we strong. We got a 1,000,000-man army. We got wolf robots. You know, we in order. All right. We got allies. OK, which is beautiful, because now that's going to make the U.S. get riled up, you know, all right, and they can make different moves and sap, like, you know, what they've been doing, like Russia's trying to build a pipeline that goes straight into China, you know, because you had under Biden, they sabotaged the pipelines, you know. I think it's the Nord Stream 1 and the Nord Stream 2 pipelines. Both of those got sabotaged by the U.S. Even though the U.S. ain't going to admit it, okay? But they got sabotaged by the U.S. So they creating different ways to help each other out, so to speak, all right? It says, and the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together, saying, the Lord against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, you see, so when these heathens set themselves up, they set themselves up against us, you know, all right? They set themselves up against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right? So you know the Lord gonna come and show them who in control. You know, the Heavenly Father gonna send his son. I'm gonna subjugate y'all. I'm gonna put y'all asses in captivity, you know, and my people gonna rule over you. All right, that's the whole purpose of why you was created. Okay, it says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. All right, so it says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. The Lord's gonna have their ass in derision because they think that they gonna rule, you know. All right, no, the Lord getting ready to vex your plans. He getting ready to sabotage y'all. He getting ready to make y'all fight against each other, you know? And Yahweh Shai gonna come and put all y'all down. We gonna grab some precepts on it. Matter of fact, let me go back to the video, okay? Because like I said, there's some more up in here. Let me see.
More praise on China's military parade than Trump's. Remember?
We don't need a military parade. We don't need to spend millions or maybe hundreds of millions of dollars to do that. But we want to do it because he has to feed his inner image monster.
CNN won't celebrate our military, but they're celebrating China's victory over Japan.
Let's speed it up.
It wasn't China that made the Japanese surrender in World War II. It was us. Japan colonized large swaths of China. Manchuria, Inner Mongolia, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Mao won a few small battles, but it was the U.S. military that decimated the Japanese Empire in the Pacific Theater and forced their surrender with atomic bombs, too. We basically liberated their country. Have the Chinese said thank you?
I thought it was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was very, very impressive. But I understood the reason they were doing it, and they were hoping I was watching, and I was watching. President Xi's a friend of mine, but I thought that the United States should have been mentioned last night during that speech because we helped China.
Thank yous go a long way, especially if you want to do business, and especially if you want to do business with Trump. Trump's not too happy with India either. Modi shouldn't be cozying up with the Chinese. India is a democracy, an ally, and a key player to counter China. But they've been buying sanctioned oil from Russia on the black market. India doesn't have oil, and Russia's their neighbor, so it makes sense to buy it from Putin. But they're feeding Russia's war machine and making it harder for Trump to make peace in Ukraine. So we hit the Indians with tariffs. But we've got to give them a new source of energy. The Mideast owes us after we bombed Iran and gave them AI. So they should sell oil to Modi to wean them off Vlad's teat. Vlad lost his customers in Europe. Now America's selling energy to the French and Germans. So Putin's putting down a big old pipeline to China. It's supposed to be finished next decade and supply 15% of China's energy. Russia and China are glowing closer. Someone might have to bomb that pipeline like Nord Stream. Trump's not thrilled with Putin.
I have no message to President Putin. He knows where I stand, and he'll make a decision one way or the other. Whatever his decision is, we'll either be happy about it or unhappy. And if we're unhappy about it, you'll see things happen.
Now, the media says Trump hasn't done enough.
Okay, craziest touchdown ever.
Tennessee Titans, Music City Miracle. I called it.
Was that what?
Yeah, I told everybody he was about to score.
You didn't tell nobody nothing. That's a fib.
New customers bet $5 to get 300 instantly in bonus.
Oh man, hurry up. God damn.
Hasn't done enough. The president said, I'm just getting started.
You've expressed many times your frustration and disappointment with Putin, but there's no action since you took your office.
How do you know there's no action?
Really? Wait.
Who are you with?
We're with Polish media.
Okay. How do you know there's no action? Would you say that putting secondary sanctions on India, the largest purchaser outside of China, they're almost equal, would you say there was no action? That cost hundreds of billions of dollars to Russia. You call that no action? And I haven't done phase 2 yet, or phase 3. But when you say there's no action, I think you ought to get yourself a new job.
Now, if Putin blows off and drags out the Zelensky meeting and keep...
Hey, and I don't like that shit right there. Oh man, but hey, he's speaking, Trump. Hey, he's stout. He's speaking stoutly, All right. Hey, let me read this real fast. All right, this is Daniel's chapter 7 verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of others which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes in the mouth that spoke very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All right, you see. All right, so Trump right now is in that stout spirit, all right, than his fellows. Okay. And you see, there's going to be more retaliations. There's going to be more things that's going to happen. All right. And it's going to keep stirring things up, like the scriptures say, because when we see these things happen, the scriptures say that the end is not yet. These are just wars and rumors of wars. All right, let's read that real fast, okay? Because they're wars and rumors of wars. All right, this is political, like theater. It's like a show right now, okay? But eventually they gonna start throwing blows, and you're gonna start noticing that the U.S. it's gonna be conscripting going on, and they already raised up the age requirement. I want to say it's up to like from like 18 to 35 or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I ain't looked it up in a minute, but they raised the age limit up, so people are going to be forced to have to go to war. So a lot of these YNs, individuals that go to college, things of that nature, they getting ready to get conscripted. Even women, a lot of you women, you getting ready to go to war. So we getting ready to start seeing, all right, it's time for the Americans to fight for their country. We're gonna start seeing things like that happen. All right, and they gonna force your ass to go to war, okay? Because they need people, they need bodies to go, and that's part of prophecy for people to die over in the Middle East. But see, that's how we know that or like the elder Zaquan of Chicago, Elder Malcolm, goes into Eastern Asia, I believe that's how you say it. The people that go over there, they're going to have to get tagged, okay? You know, which the mark of the beast is going to be their digital like dog tag, you know? All right, so they believe when the war is over that's how they're going to be able to, you know, find the bodies and identify who got sent over to war and things. And that's how we know that the mark is going to come first. All right, that's just one reason, you know. So let me get this real fast. Matthew 24 and in 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, so you know, when you hear about these rumors, all right, this is basically reports. Let's look up the word rumor real fast. All right, the word rumor is
Strong's G 189
aka, which is a sense of hearing, instructions, preaching the gospel, report or rumor. All right, so these are the different reports, all right, that we're hearing about, you know. So right now we're hearing wars and rumors of wars, okay, all right, but the end is not yet, all right, because the major piece of prophecy, which is the mark of the beast, that gotta be mandatory, you know. All right, and then, you know, however the Lord does it, you know, people going to get sent over to the Middle East to go fight in this third world's war. Okay, you know, like the scriptures say, that one woe. Let me see. Let me get it real fast. One woe. All right, hold on. Let me see. New Testament. All right, Revelation 9 and 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more after. So we had World War I, World War II passed, all right, and now the third one is coming, which we're in the midst of World War III. All right, these different skirmishes, these different infightings, all right, division, okay. The spirit of war is out here, you know. You got war out here in the U.S., civil war, all right. States are divided amongst themselves, okay. All right, the Lord said what? This is not a time of peace, okay, you know. So let me get that real fast. The third woe coming quickly. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Hold on. Third woe. All right, Revelation 11 and 14. It says, matter of fact, let me read up to Revelation 11:11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of light from the Most High entered into them. Right, that's the Lord raising up the elect. Okay, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, so the raising up of the Lord's elect is where these Edomites are in a state of fearing now, because they know that once we were to rise up and we were to prophesy and we were to call back on the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that, you know, their end was going to come. All right, so we're at the end of Esau's world. Okay, so what we're witnessing is that Esau's time is short. All right, and he knoweth that he had but a short time, you know, and that's why they're moving fast, okay, with their new world order plans. They're sloppy with things that they're doing, you know. All right, and we're like the pop's been going into, they getting ready to persecute us, the believers, you know. They're getting ready to make this shit mandatory. Some of us are going to be beheaded for what we believe in as a testimony for us serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you know. All right, and our faith got to be strong, because when all these things happen, everything's going to, you know, is all for us to get out of here. All right, but it's going to be a great trial of our faith. All right, because, you know, we're going to have to resist that mark, you know. All right, We're going to have to lean on the Lord in these trying and evil times. We're going to be seeing people get hauled off to go fight in this war. People getting taken to concentration camps. People getting lined up, sentenced by the firing squads and things of that nature, you know? All right, because hey, the devil's going to come down with great wrath. It says, and they heard a great voice from the heavens saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to the heavens in a cloud, and the enemies beheld them. So before that even happens, right? Because that's going to take place with Yahweh Shai coming, you know? All right, Yahweh Shai is going to come at the right time, the nick of time, you know? To raise up the elect out of here, okay? It says, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, you know? Not like with that bugged out woman was, there's going to be an earthquake! And San Francisco and yada yada yada. All right, Lord and set up women to go prophesy and say certain things, you know. Now the Lord got the spirit on his men to go into the scriptures and break them down and give the right interpretation and understanding of what these words and these prophecies are going into. All right, you know. So the earthquake, which is going to be from the missiles, all right, because see, the missiles, they contain warheads inside of them. And you know, the Lord gave the understanding for them to have the AI and artificial intelligence to be able to maneuver through these iron domes and missile defenses, where these missiles ain't gonna get knocked out of the skies. You know, these type of missiles, they're going to be able to hit their mark, pinpoint accuracy. So, you know, in a matter of 15 to 20 minutes, these missiles are going to touch down in their locations, fly throughout the atmosphere, fly down it. They have Russia has a glider system, and their gliding system is so highly capable, it's able to maneuver through any defense system that the U.S. has. Okay, it's damn near unstoppable. All right, and the Russians, they brag about the type of technology that they have, you know. All right, that they got an unstoppable missile that, you know, can't be shot out the sky. That's according to the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter, you know. All right, Lord's willing, I could grab that. Okay, it says and the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. All right, because see, America is broken up into 10 FEMA regions from 0 to 9. Okay, so that'll be the 10th part of the city. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. All right, see, 7 is a representation of a complete number. So it's going to be many souls going back into the heavenly realm, all right, all at once, like a great altar, you know. So people are going to die here, you know. The scriptures tell you in the book of let me see, the book of Malachi. It tell you in the book of Malachi. Let me see. Malachi chapter 4 verse 1, it says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, right, shall be stubble, and that day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts. Shall that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. You see, so the destruction is going to lay the land desolate. It's going to lay everything out. Nothing's going to survive here, because the root, you know, like if you deal with husbandry work, there's certain plants that it'll sprout throughout the surface, but and then if you could think that you pull it, but it can disconnect itself, and you'll think that you pull it out of the soil, but the root will still be in the ground. So you think that you pulled it out, but you didn't get the whole thing. So it could grow itself back and suck the life out of the plants in your garden, like weeds, you know. So there's nothing going to be left here to rebuild, you know? There's no family members. There's not going to be nothing. Everything is going to be totally desolate. America's predetermined to be a wasteful land, you know? It's going to be like Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? But the destruction is going to be worse than Sodom and Gomorrah, all right? You know? And you know, you brothers know why, you know? You got Transformers and women's sports beating the shit out these women, cracking skulls, beating them in, you know, races and things of that nature, all right? Using the restrooms in the girls' bathroom. And these are men that change their identities, okay? You got women that are changing themselves to look like men because they want to be men, and then men change themselves to look like women because they want to be women, and then the one that looks like a man, which is a woman, gets pregnant by the one that looks like a female, but it's a man. You see how confused that shit sounded? That shit sounded confusing. Just me thinking about it and saying it was like, God damn. But that's the Lord gonna destroy all that shit. All right? Because that's confusion, that's perversion, that's wickedness, man. You know? All the wicked. Those that are left behind are going to get burnt up here. That's part of the destruction that's going to take place in this place. You know? Alright? And then it said in Revelation, it said what? That the righteous, let me get that real fast. Okay? Hold on. Scarcely be saved. Okay? This is 1 Peter 4:18. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, matter of fact, let me go to the whole chapter. All right, hold on, let me read up. 1 Peter 4. Oh, this is good. 1 Peter 4:14. If ye be reproached for the name of a Mashiach, happy are ye. For the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. And on their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. But let none of you suffer as murderers, or as thieves, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matter. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai on this behalf. It says, for the time is come, right, that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? You see, so the Lord said that the judgment is going to begin with us, you know? And if we're going to suffer for righteousness' sake, you know? Suffer for the names, okay? For believing and following the instructions, all right? And, you know, when things heat up, you know, we're truly going to see who's really down to suffer for the names of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, okay? Because a lot of Israelites that proclaim to be in the faith, in the truth, they're going to deny the Lord. And they're going to try to save their life, all right? And they're going to be disqualified from the salvation, meaning ultimately that they wasn't part of the elect. All right, hey, Lord willing, we endure to the end. What comes? Okay, all right, because a great deliverance is coming, and that's why we've been constantly pushing faith as well. All right, because the balance of destruction is somebody got to make it. You know, all right, and if you've been fighting and pushing and working and doing the Lord told you to do to the best of your ability, you know, you got to have confidence in that, a healthy dose of faith in that, you know, all right, not pride, but confidence, meaning with faith, all right, that's confidence, okay. It says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? You see? So even the righteous are going to be scarcely be saved. So, you know, it could be a situation where you just hear and they got the missile alarms going off, emergency alert, get to your nearest bunker, impact, countdown, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, you hearing sirens, you never even knew you had sirens in your city, missile alert sirens, you just hearing, oh shit, you know, and then, or you might just see one and it's thousands of miles away, and you just see the mushroom cloud, which today, you know, which kind of still imprompted me to do this lesson. I seen this today. Kind of looked like a mushroom cloud. You see, that kind of looks like a mushroom cloud right there. I guess it's a fire going on out here. I went to the you know, to the airfield, and then I was like, man, it looks like a mushroom cloud right there. That's probably the spirit for me to go to World War III, you know. But you might see the mushroom cloud from afar off, and then a missile coming to land where you at, but then the chariots show up at the right time and you get beamed up, you know, and you saw the glittering sword come down, and you know, you closed, I was shy, you know, and I was shy now, you know, you deliver me, Baba Kashaw, you know, and new body, you know, in a chariot, okay. And it's gonna be scary, but the Lord, I don't know how the Lord gonna do it, but the Lord gonna save the elect at the right time, though. It's the point I'm trying to make. All right. So it says, let me read this in the NLT. So if you are suffering in a manner that pleases the Most High, right, keep on doing what is right and trust your lives to the Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, who created you, for He will never fail you. You see? All right? If we keep doing what is right, the Lord said He will never fail us. You know? That means keep fighting, no matter how hard it gets. All right? Because, hey, everything that is happening is all for what? Our deliverance, our testimony, you know? Our uplifting of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, glorifying the Heavenly Father and His Son. Okay? Praising Him. The Lord wants us to praise them, you know? So let me see where I went to, okay, yeah, I went to Malachi. Now let me go back to Revelation 11 and 13. It says, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. You see? All right? And the scriptures say when those missiles drop down, right? Let's grab that as well. When those missiles drop, it's going to shake the whole earth. That's how impactful those missiles are going to be. Okay? Let's get that real fast in Isaiah 24. Isaiah chapter 24 and and 18. It says, and it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. Let me see, hold on. Okay. Wait, hold on. Okay. Yep. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare, for the windows from on high are open, and the foundation of the earth do shake. It says the earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. It says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. All right, and it's not talking about the whole earth. All right, it's talking about the one who runs the earth. Remember, the scriptures say that the earth has been given over into the hands of the wicked. All right, that's who's gonna fall and not rise again. Okay, these Edomites, these elite banking families, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Bilderbergs, the Oppenheimers, you know, all right, that they're getting ready to fall alongside with the rest of the heathens. Read Psalms, the 83rd chapter, you know. Okay, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. You see, all right. So the Lord's going to punish them, all right, but the Lord's going to have them fight first. Okay, right? Let me see. Let's go back to Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, so the third woe is coming quickly. Okay, let's watch some more of this video. All right, let's watch some more of this.
In the war in Ukraine, Trump doesn't have a choice but to ramp up sanctions and tariffs, and he might have to turn the Europeans loose and add more firepower. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. The China trade deal, that's the white whale. If he captures it, it puts Xi in check, and India falls back into our lap, and we can do business with Modi. Remember, that's where Apple's setting up shop. Trump's already stopped wars in Asia, Africa, and the Mideast. He's just embarrassed that every time a world leader comes by to sign a peace deal in a Democrat city, they have to dodge bullets.
There you have it, you guys. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, are you happy with the way that Donald Trump has been handling things with these foreign leaders? If so, drop a 47 in the comments. If not, put no. Let me know your thoughts. But as you can see, there's a lot unfolding, and we're going to get into more footage as to what came out yesterday. And you heard them discussing the world leaders. You saw Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un talking about swapping out organs in a hot mic moment, and also Donald Trump accusing them. And that is why we are now accusing them of conspiring against the United States. That is why we are seeing this coming out in the last 24 hours. Trump directs the Pentagon to prepare for military restructuring against China and Russia. Now, let me know your thoughts. Are we going to World War III? With what we saw in the last 24 hours, China, North Korea, Russia coming together, celebrating, China unveiling new nuclear power, new weapons, Trump saying that there is conspiring going on against the United States of America, and now we're seeing headlines coming out like this. Are we going to World War III? If so, put WW3 in the comments. If not, put peace. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But let's go ahead and take a look at this article so that way you can see it for yourself. And as you'll see, there are several articles coming out about Trump directing the Pentagon to prepare for military restructuring against China and Russia in the last 24 hours. Let's go ahead and take a look at this so you can see it for yourself. Now, it says U.S. President Donald Trump has directed the Pentagon to be ready to detour China and Russia if required, signaling preparations for a large-scale transformation of the American armed forces. Speaking on Fox News on September 3rd, yesterday, and I shared with you this video footage when it came out, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth confirmed that he had received an order from the president to begin planning for a major restructuring of the military. That is why President Trump has charged us at the Department of Defense to be prepared to rebuild our military, reestablish deterrence. Not because we seek conflict, and we've been clear about that with China and Russia and others, Hegseth stated. Now, at the same time, President Trump has accused China, Russia, and North Korea of conspiring against the United States, and that is that True Social post I just shared with you. He came out and called them out, saying they are conspiring at this meeting against the U.S. He made the claim as China leader Xi Jinping presided over a massive military parade marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and Japan's surrender. The president did not elaborate on what he meant by conspire, but reminded that the United States played a decisive role in liberating China from foreign occupation during the war. Earlier, Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian leader Vladimir Putin, and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un appeared side by side in Beijing on Wednesday at a grand military parade commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. So there you have it. Donald Trump coming out and letting us know, hey, we're going to be prepared for potential...
Oh, wait. If you were detained at any San Bernardino juvenile detention facility, such as High Desert or Gilbert Street...
for potential... responses from Russia and China. Here's another one you can see updated today, September the 4th. Trump has directed the Pentagon to prepare for military restructuring as Russia and China grow closer. Trump has accused China and Russia and North Korea of conspiring against the United States as Chinese leader Xi Jinping presides over a massive military parade in Beijing. Soon after Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russia's Vladimir Putin, and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un were seen together in China. U.S. President Donald Trump directed the Pentagon to be ready to detour China and Russia if required, signaling preparations for a large-scale transformation of the American armed forces. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, while speaking to Fox News, confirmed that he had received an order from the president to begin planning for a major restructuring of the military. That is why President Trump has charged us at the Department of Defense to prepare to rebuild our military and reestablish deterrence, not because we seek conflict, and we've been clear about that with China, Russia, and others, he stated. Meanwhile, President Trump has accused China, Russia, and North Korea of conspiring against the United States as Chinese leader Xi Jinping presides over a massive military parade in Beijing, marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. And also, here is another one here. Now, you can see Pete Hegseth. Trump orders the Pentagon to prepare for deterring Russia and China. Now, right after this, we're going to show some more video footage so you can see it for yourself. U.S. President Donald Trump has instructed the Pentagon to prepare for the deterrence of closer ties between Russia and China, raising concerns about global security dynamics. And a lot of people saying this is speculation of a world war. We're seeing major powers, global powers, Russia, China, North Korea, coming together, celebrating, and as they're doing this, unveiling new nuclear weapons together, and Donald Trump is calling them out. According to U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the move was prompted by what he described as the weakness of the previous administration, which he said inadvertently drew Moscow and Beijing together, close together. Caliber AZ reports per foreign media. He explained that President Trump has tasked the Department of Defense with being ready to restructure armed forces, restore military morale, and reestablish deterrence. He emphasized that the United States does not seek conflict, but maintaining readiness is essential for the safety of the American people. Hegseth highlighted that U.S. military capabilities would be maintained across space, air, sea, and underwater domains, citing the Golden Dome system as a strategic asset that China cannot replicate. He also stressed that diplomatic efforts would continue alongside military preparedness, noting that the president maintains excellent relations with Chairman Xi and intends to leverage this relationship to explore avenues of cooperation. So there you have it. We are hearing that they are trying to detour war, go the...
Yeah, but they're not going to be able to detour war, all right? Because, see, the Lord is going to make them fight, all right? The Lord is going to make their ass fight, all right? Let me get this real fast in the book of Jeremiah, okay? This is Jeremiah chapter 51:1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, all right? And we believe that this is Babylon the Great, okay, or the daughter of Babylon, okay, not ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon is still inhabitant, and that was Iraq, okay, back in the ancient times, which modern day Iraq is inhabited, okay. So the Babylon that it's talking about, and this precept right here is talking about America, okay, all right. For all you out there that says that America is not in the Bible, yes it is, all right. You just gotta have the Spirit working with you to understand these words, okay. It says, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind, all right. This is why the Lord allowed them to have these different smiths, these different scientists to create these weapons of mass destruction, man, all right. And they're going to use them, okay. So we're close, Akim. We're close to this place going down. We're close to this bitch burning, all right, and us finally being freed out of here, you know. It says, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her. So you know when you got air hitting that flame, it makes that flame get bigger, you know. All right. So the Lord is going to have things happen to where the heat is gonna keep intensifying. You know, there ain't gonna be no smoothing things out, making things better, and life gonna just turn into peace, and everybody's gonna just come together and kumbaya and work out for the best. No, all right. The Lord want war, so he gonna make them fight. Okay. It says, and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Who's going to be against her? Who's going to be against America? We seen in the video, China, Putin. You had in the I forget the dude name from India. You know, you got Xi Jinping there. You know, you got other players that are going to be against this place. Okay. And you're gonna push the button. All right. It says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. Okay. All right. So this is what's going to take place. All right. Destruction, war. Okay. Chaos. All right. Let's I'm gonna leave it right there, because I'm already at 1 hour and 16 minutes. But let's get Revelation real fast, all right? Because again, Yahweh Shai, as I may mention, Yahweh Shai, okay, Yahweh Shai, all right, he's gonna come and take these nations down. All right. Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in his righteousness he doth judge and make war. You see? All right. The Lord's coming to make war. All right. To subdue the other nations. That's why he told us to wait and be still, you know, because his determination to rise up against these other nations, you know. All right. Even though Yahweh Shai is not going to have to lift the muscle, okay, but he's going to give the elect charge. He's going to give the angels charge, okay, all right, to subdue our enemies, meaning that we're going to have powers, you know, powers, okay, to take down our enemies. This is going to be one of the most spectacular wars, because it's going to be the last and final war. So the way the Lord is going to have it set up, he gave these other nations to have this technology that seems impossible to come up against, but that's why the Lord's going to give us bodies that is going to be far beyond the capabilities of machines and things of that nature, you know. And we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun taking down the other nations, you know. All right. It's going to be, man, you watching these movies, how they just running through troops and they just shit blowing up, and, you know, we just dodge it. They just be dodging explosions and knocking down choppers and planes and jumping through the sky and flying through the air. That's how the elect gonna be. And at the same time, you're gonna have brothers getting beamed up. You know? So it's gonna be a lot taking place, okay? So it says his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, okay? And we know the names of the Lord. The Lord gave us his names now. Yahweh is the Heavenly Father, Bahashem, and the name Yahweh Shai, okay? And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. Which, what are these white horses? Like they've been saying, a chariot the size of a sun, and the sun is like 1,000,000 earths or something like that. You know, a chariot, a 7,000 feet long chariot, which that's bigger. That's 2 times the size of America. America is 3,000 miles long, I want to say. You know, 3,000 miles long. So it's gonna be 2 times the size of America. So you got a chariot that can swallow the earth, and you got a chariot that's bigger than, you know what I'm saying, America itself. All right, but this is how the Lord is coming on these ships. All eyes shall see him. All eyes shall see the Lord when he return. Okay, and then the Lord's gonna come with angels. Michael, you know, he coming with the archangel. Michael is the he's under Yahushua, you know. So it says, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, right? And this ain't no, you know, Yahushua gonna come and he gonna open his mouth and then he gonna pull a sword out of his throat, like one of them entertainers that be doing the fire swinging and shit, and let's see how far the sword can go down before without cutting they esophagus or some crazy shit, you know. Nah, man, it's speaking about, you know, the laser beams from the chariots. All right, that's part of the fire that's going to be disintegrating people alongside with the nuclear missiles. Okay, it says that it should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of his wrath of the Almighty. It says, and he hath on his vestures and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right, see, so Yahushua is going to have, okay, he's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right, that's one of his titles. Okay, you know. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heavens, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. You see, so they're gonna, you know, band together to fight against the Lord. All right, like it tells you in Ezra, the 13th chapter, they durst fight. One realm versus another. Okay, you know. So World War III is coming. All right, the answer is yes. World War III is coming. All right, and there's no deterrent, there's no stopping it, and that's why you got to listen to the prophets. That's why you got to watch the videos of the prophets and learn from the prophets. You know. All right. Hey, we're here to prophesy to the heathens, and we're here to prophesy to our people. If you're an Israelite, repent, you know, all right, because the Lord's going to make war against you if you don't. If you're a heathen, prepare your mind for slavery, you know, all right, because the Lord is going to make war against you to subjugate you, okay? He's going to show who got the true power, all right? And after that, all nations will bow down unto the nation of Israel. There will be no nation that'll ever rise up against us. Never, ever again. You know? So that's pretty much it, Akim. That's all I got right there. Lord willing, this was edifying to the Lord's elect. I'm gonna get out of here by giving all praises to our powers. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rakam Kadash. I want to say Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom, Makim. Y'all better stay up, Shalom.